Today we will solve O-Level Physics 5054 Paper 1 Variant 1 October-November 2016 and questions from 1 to 20. Okay, it is question number 1. A length of copper wire is labeled length 30 meter and diameter 0.50 millimeter. Which instruments are most suitable to measure accurately the length and the diameter of the wire? Okay, first we check what instrument we have to use to measure the length of the wire. To measure the length of the wire, it is given either we have to use a rule or we have to use a tape. Okay, rule, it is called meter rule. Meter rule is used to measure the length only up to 1 meter. Here it is given length 30 meters. So our instrument to measure the length of 30 meters should be a tape. So our possible option is C and D. Now we will check what instrument we have to use to measure the diameter. Here in the options for the diameter, it is given calipers and micrometer. To measure the diameter, we can use either calipers or micrometer. But the better option is micrometer. Why better option is micrometer? The least count of vernier caliper is 0.02 millimeter, whereas least count for micrometer is 0.01 millimeter. What is least count? Least count of an instrument is the smallest and accurate value that instrument can measure. So we can say micrometer can measure more accurately, more precisely. So our best option is option D, where it is given to measure the length we have to use tape and to measure the diameter we have to use micrometer. Question number 2. A skydiver falls from rest through the air and reaches terminal velocity. What is the acceleration of the skydiver during his fall? Okay, when skydiver starts falling, it is acted upon only by gravitational force, and because of gravitational force in the beginning, in the start, its acceleration is equal to acceleration due to gravity and its value is 10 meter per second square. Now gradually air resistance increases and a time will come when this air resistance will be equal to gravitational pull or gravitational force. At this stage, the downward force is equal to upward force. When downward force is equal to upward force, it means the resultant force will be zero and the acceleration will be zero. So when the skydiver is moving at the terminal velocity, its acceleration is zero. Now it is given in the option D that in the start, in the beginning, its acceleration was 10 meter per second square and its acceleration is decreasing to 0 meter per second square. When it is falling with the terminal velocity, its acceleration is 0. So our correct option is option D, starting at 10 meter per second square and decreasing to 0 meter per second square. Question number 3. The diagram shows a car going around a circular track at constant speed. Which arrow shows the direction of the resultant force of the car? Here the car is moving in a circle, and when an object is moving in a circle, it is acted upon by a force that is directed toward the center of the circle. And this force is called centripetal force. Now here the arrow D represents the force in the direction of center of the circle. So we can say resultant force is in the direction of D. So our correct option is option D. Question number 4. A car has stopped at red light. When the light changes to green, the car starts moving with a constant acceleration. The graph represents this motion. Which quantity is plotted on the x-axis and which quantity is plotted on the y-axis? Okay, here it is given the car starts moving with a constant acceleration. If there is a constant acceleration and if this gradient is representing acceleration, then this line should be in a straight line. This should be steady. This cannot be curved. So it means this gradient is not representing acceleration. Now second thing, if there is a uniform acceleration or constant acceleration, it means there is a gradual change in speed. And here this curve represents gradual change. So we can say this curve represents speed. Now if this curve is representing speed, then definitely on the x-axis there will be time, and on the y-axis there should be distance, because if we plot a graph in between time and distance, then the curve obtained is speed or velocity of the object. So this is speed, and this graph is plotted in between time and distance. On x-axis there is time, on y-axis there is distance. Now we will check our option. The same thing is given in the option C. On x-axis it is time, and on y-axis it is distance. So option C is correct one. Question number 5. Which statement about mass and weight is correct? Option A mass experiences a weight due to a gravitational field. Yes, it is the correct option. When we put a mass in a gravitational field, that mass experiences a pull, experiences a force that is directed toward the center of the earth, and that pull or that force is called weight of the object or weight of the body. So option A is correct one. We will check the other options. In option B, it is given mass and weight are different type of force. No, mass is not a force, weight is a force. So option B is incorrect. Option C, mass and weight have the same unit. No, unit of mass is kilogram and unit of weight is Newton. So option C is also incorrect. Option D, when an object expands, its mass changes but its weight stays the same. When an object expands, its volume is increased, its mass doesn't change. Mass remains constant. So option D is also incorrect. So our correct answer is correct option is option A. Question number 6. Each diagram shows two forces that are equal in magnitude. Which diagram shows two forces that are a Newton's third law pair of forces? Okay, what is Newton's third law of motion? It states whenever one body exerts a force on another, the second body exerts a force an equal and opposite on the first body. Means if this body is exerting a force on this object on this body, then this body should also exert a force on the first one with same magnitude but in opposite direction. Now here we are looking that weight and normal contact force, both the forces are shown on the same body on one body, so this option is incorrect. Here also we are looking that on this block one force is here and second force is here. It is tension, it is friction. Here two forces are acting on the same body, so this option is also incorrect. In option C, it is given that the nucleus is attracting electrons, and in turn electron is also attracting this electron with the same force but in opposite direction. So here one body is exerting a force on the other body, then in the return the second body is also exerting a force on the first body in the opposite direction. So this option is correct one in accordance with the Newton's third law of motion. So option C is correct one. Question number 7. Two forces of 3 Newton and 4 Newton act at right angle to each other. Which diagram shows the resultant R of these forces? Okay, the topic is related with the addition of vectors by graphical method. Okay, first we check this one. Suppose here we have a vector, and suppose the value of this vector is 4 Newton. Now here this point, this starting point is called tail of the vector, and this end point is called head of the vector. In graphical method, how we have to add two vectors? This is first vector. For the first vector, here it is tail, here it is head. Now how we will add the second vector in the first vector? We have to put the tail of the second vector at the head of the first vector. Here what we have done? We have put the tail of the second vector on the head of the first vector. Now these are the two component vectors. This one is 4 Newton, this one is 3 Newton. Now what about the resultant? For the resultant, we have to draw a force that is, we have to draw a force starting from the tail of the first vector, and we have to move towards the head of the second vector. This vector that I have drawn here, it is resultant of these two vectors. Now the same picture, same figure is shown in the option C. Here it is 4 Newton force, here it is 3 Newton force. These two are the component vector and this one is the resultant vector. So our correct option is option C. Question number 8. A workman rolls a barrel of weight 2000 Newton up a plank of length 2 meter and onto a lorry. The back of the lorry is 0.8 meter above the horizontal surface of the road. What is the work done on the barrel against the gravity? Okay, here we have to find out the amount of work done against the gravity when we are moving this barrel up this lorry. Work done against gravitational field is given as mgh, where this m is for mass, g is for gravitational field strength, and this h is the vertical distance or height. Here this m is for mass, g is for gravitational field strength, and the product of mg is called weight. So we can also say that work done is equal to weight into height, w into h. Now here w is given, weight is given 2000 Newton. So in place of mg, or we can say in place of w, we have substituted the value of w, that is 2000 Newton. Now height is given here 0.80 meter. So h is 0.80 meter, and by solving this one, we will get the answer 1600 joules, and it is given in the option B. So option B is the correct option. Question number 9. Three objects P, Q and R have different masses and different speeds as shown in the table. Okay, here mass and speeds are given. What is the order of increasing kinetic energy smallest first of the object? Okay, kinetic energy is given as half mv square. Now here mass is given and speed or velocity is also given. So in all the three cases, we have calculated the kinetic energy. In the first case, we obtain 4.5 meter per second. It is joule. Kinetic energy we obtain in the first case, it is 4.5 joule. In the second case, we got 4 joules, and in the third case, we got 2.5 joules. Now we are looking here that the kinetic energy in R is least and kinetic energy in P is most. Here it is least kinetic energy and here it is most kinetic energy. So we can say the least kinetic energy is in R and most kinetic energy, maximum kinetic energy is in P. So the order will be R, Q and P. R, Q, P. And it is given in the option D. So option D is correct option. Question number 10. A weightlifter lifts some masses through a height of 1.8 meter. The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. During the lift, the gravitational potential energy of the masses increases by 4500 joules. What is the total mass lifted? Okay, gravitational potential energy is given as mgh. Now here potential energy is given 4500. Mass we have to find out. G is acceleration due to gravity or gravitation field strength. Its value is 10 Newton per kg. This height h is also given. Height is given here 1.8 meter. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer. Mass is equal to 250 kg. And 250 kg is given in the option B. So option B is correct one. Question number 11. Which expression is used to calculate power? Okay, power is defined as rate of work done. What is meant by rate of work done? We have to divide the amount of work done by time taken to do that work. So same thing is given in the option C, that work done divided by time taken, it is called power. So option C is correct option. Question number 12. The pressure of the atmosphere is 100,000 Pascal. What force does the atmosphere exerts on the upper surface of a pond of surface area 20 meter square? Okay, pressure is given as P is equal to F over A. So force will be equal to P into A. So we can say force exerted will be equal to pressure into area. Now here pressure is given 100,000 Pascal. So P will be equal to 100,000, and here surface area is given 20 meters square. So area is 20, and by solving this one we got the answer 2,000,000 Newton. Now 2,000,000 Newton is given in the option D. So option D is correct option. Question number 13. Oil of density 8.5 into 10 power 2 kilogram per meter cube is stored in a large tank. The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. What is the pressure due to oil 6 meter below its surface? Okay, pressure exerted by a liquid is given as P is equal to rho GH, where P is for pressure, rho is for density, G is for gravitational field strength, and this H is height, or we can say this H is the distance from surface of the liquid to the point where we have to calculate the pressure. Now here density is given 8.5 into 10 power 2. This G gravitational field strength is 10 Newton per kg. This H, it is given here, it is 6 meter. So by solving this one, we will get the answer 51,000 Pascal, and 51,000 Pascal is given in the option D. So our correct option is option D. Question number 14. Air is trapped in a cylinder by a piston. The piston is pushed further into the cylinder. How do the pressure and the volume of the air in the syringe change? Okay, here we have a cylinder and we have taken some air here, and this piston is pushed. When we push the piston, the volume of the air will be decreased. And when the volume of the air will be decreased in according to Wire's law, the pressure of the gas or pressure of the air will be increased. So we can say when we will push the piston, the volume of the air will be decreased and pressure of the air will be increased. Same thing is given in the option C, that pressure increases and the volume decreases. So our correct option is option C. Question number 15. Which statement explains how a pressure is exerted by a gas on a container? Okay, pressure of a gas is exerted when the molecules of the gas collide with the wall of the container. And the same thing is given in option B, that gas molecules collide with the wall of the container. So option B is correct option. Okay, now we read other options. In option A, it is given gas molecules collide with other gas molecules in the container. No, then it is not called pressure. Option C, gas molecule exerts strong attractive forces on each other. In option D, it is given gas molecule exert strong repulsive force on each other. If we consider an ideal gas, in ideal gas neither there is any force of attraction nor any force of repulsion. So option C and D are also not possible. So our best option is option B. Gas molecules collide with the wall of the container, and because of this collision, pressure is exerted by the gas. So correct option is option B. Question number 16. When a liquid evaporates, molecules escape from its surface. Which molecule escape and what happens to the average kinetic energy of the molecule remaining in the liquid? Okay, when a liquid evaporates, molecule escape from its surface. The molecules having kinetic energy more than the average kinetic energy will escape from the surface, and when these molecules escape from the surface, the remaining molecules of the liquid will be cooled down, or we can say the average kinetic energy of the remaining liquid will be decreased. Now we will check our options. In option A, it is given the less energetic molecule escape. No, less energetic molecules cannot escape. The more energetic molecule will be escape. Option B, the less energetic molecule escape. Against it is given here less energetic. So this option is also incorrect. Option C, the more energetic molecule escape. Yes, it is correct. And the average kinetic energy decreases. The average kinetic energy of the remaining molecules of the remaining liquid will be decreased. So this option is correct. In option D, it is given the more energetic molecules escape. Up to this point, it is correct. And the average kinetic energy increases. No, it is incorrect. The average kinetic energy of the remaining molecules decreases. So option C is correct option. Question number 17. The diagram shows changes of state. What are the names of the changes of state P, Q, R and S? Okay, first we check here about P. Here gas is converting into liquid. When a gas is converting into a liquid, it is called condensation. Now in the option A and option B, it is given that P is condensation. So our possible options are A and B only. Now we will not check C and D. We will check only A and B. Now we will check the second one, Q. Here a liquid is converting into a solid. When a liquid converts into a solid, it is called solidification. And it is given in the option B that for Q it is solidification. So option B is the correct option. Okay, we will also check about R and S. For R, it is given solid is converting into liquid. When a solid convert into liquid, it is called melting. Yes, it is correct. It is given here melting in option B. When a liquid converts into a gas, it is called boiling. It is given here for S boiling. So our correct option is option B. Question number 18. A boiling liquid absorbs thermal energy at a rate of 450 watts. The specific latent heat of vaporization is 2.7 into 10 power 6 joules per kilogram. How much liquid is vaporized in 9 minutes? Okay, first thing, power is defined as rate of work done, and work done is a form of energy. So we can say power is rate of energy, or we can say P is equal to E over T. Now E will be equal to P into T. P power is given here 450. Time is given here 9 minutes. 9 minutes we have to convert in seconds. That's why we have multiplied this one by 60. And by solving this one, we got the answer 243,000 joules. So amount of energy, amount of thermal energy is 243,000 joules. Now we have studied in the topic of thermal physics that Q is equal to ml, where this Q is amount of thermal energy, this M is for mass and this L is for specific latent heat. Now here we have to find out the mass. This Q amount of heat, this amount of heat energy will be same that we have calculated in the previous part, that E is equal to 243,000 joules. So Q is equal to 243,000 joules. Mass we have to find out. This L is specific latent heat and it is given here 2.7 into 10 power 6. By solving this one, we will get the answer M is equal to 0.09 kilogram. Here mass is given grams, so we have to convert this kilogram in gram. By converting this one in gram, we got the answer 90 gram. And 90 gram is given in the option C. So option C is correct one. Question number 19. What makes a clinical thermometer suitable for measuring small changes in body temperature? Okay, here the topic is related with the sensitivity of the thermometer. And in the topic of sensitivity, we have studied that narrower the capillary tube, the more will be the sensitivity of the thermometer. Now the same thing is given in the option B, the bore of the capillary tube is narrow. So if the bore of the capillary tube is narrow, if the diameter of the capillary tube is less, then it will be more sensitive, and if the diameter of the capillary tube or of the bore is more, then it will be less sensitive. So our correct option is option B. The bore of the capillary tube is narrow. That's why it is more sensitive, or it can measure small changes in body temperature. Question number 20. Which statement about the transfer of thermal energy is correct? Option A. Transfer by radiation does not require a medium. Yes, it is the correct option. We have studied three modes of heat transfer. One is conduction, second is convection, third is radiation. In conduction and convection, a medium is required, while in radiation, heat is transferred without any medium. So option A is correct one. Transfer by radiation does not require a medium. So correct option is option A. Okay, we will check the other options also. In option B, transfer is from a region of lower temperature to one of higher temperature. No, heat is always transferred from higher temperature to the lower temperature. So this option is incorrect. Option C, transfer upwards in fluids is mainly through the vibration of the neighboring particles. No, vibration is a or the process of heat transfer in solids. In liquids, it is not because of vibration, it is because of the transfer of the molecules from one point to another. So option C is also not possible. Option D, transfer in solid is by means of density changes in the material. No, transfer in solids is by the vibration of the molecule at their mean position. So option D is also not possible. So our best option is option A. Transfer by radiation does not require a medium. Okay, today we have completed up to question number 20. The remaining from 21 to 40 we will do in the next session. Thank you very much.